Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Pitstick at soulproof.com, and we're talking about heaven and hell. What are they really? For the next part, I want to review briefly the near-death experience for the comparisons about heaven and hell. As you know, people describe going through a tunnel, encountering the light, having a life review in which that can be like heaven or hell. If a person led a good life, you get to feel and see all the good ripples you created. Conversely, if you hurt others, you feel the amount of hurt you put out to others. So remember those concepts. So when I was interviewing Dr. Neil Douglas Klotz on my radio show, I asked him about the concepts that heaven and hell are levels of consciousness, degrees of closeness or separation from God, and knowledge of our real selves. And he replied, quote, "This is close to the original Aramaic. The Christian concept of hell is not found in the Hebrew or Aramaic language. The word usually translated from the Hebrew as hell, Sheol, means a chaotic passageway through which the soul passes after the body goes back to its various elements. The notion of hell as some sort of eternal punishment would not have been known or even understood by Jesus and his listeners. It was not in their native language," end quote. So you realize this, and yet one of the predominant descriptions of hell in our media, in our society, is this place of eternal punishment, and it's scared so many people, it's turned off so many people from God, and that's why it's important that we look at the true roots and you understand what hell really is. So I continue on. The term a chaotic passageway reminds me of the tunnel described by NDEers after a suicide attempt. Are heaven and hell then, at least in part, what we experience when we have our life reviews, after death or during NDEs? To that question, Dr. Klotz answered, quote, "It seems to me that they are, simply based on the language. The word for death in Hebrew, mawet, does not mean the end or the finish of something. It means a passageway into some other reality. This passageway involves, according to the Hebrew scriptures, a period of confusion and a period of sorting out." Now there are other meanings, there are other root words from which the word hell was translated. Another is Gehenna. We already mentioned Sheol. These words were describing a burning pit. Villages in the Middle East all had kind of like garbage dumps outside their towns where they burnt trash. And parents would say to them, to the children, if you're not good, we're going to throw you into that burning pit. Kind of like parents in our day would say, if you're not good, the boogeyman's going to get you, or trying to scare, Santa Claus won't come. You're just trying to scare the children, trying to get them to behave better. Yet that idiom, we're going to throw you in that burning pit, somehow became interpreted as a reality, as if that were the nature of reality and could really happen to a soul. Thus all the fear and you have to save your soul, or you could lose your soul, or your soul will burn forever. It's just ludicrous, and certainly time for people to wake up to that. As I mentioned, what earthly parent, even a bad one, would intentionally pass their children's finger through a fire, a flame, for even a moment? Well, again, how could we expect a creator, the divine, to do that to anyone for eternity? It just doesn't make any sense, and more people are waking up to that. Now, if there's not a fiery eternal hell, the question arises, what about people like Hitler, mass murderers, rapists, child molesters, and so on? What happens to them? It's a great question. We'll be talking about that in the next video. For now, be sure to visit the website, soulproof.com, sign up for the newsletter. Thanks for sharing this with others.